Have you ever wondered why we talk about arguments as if they were actual battles? Well, it turns out that they kind of are. They're all associated with conflict. And in this video, we're going to look at the top 10 phrases and sayings that are connected with conflict. Number 10. Now, you know it's getting serious when that group chat goes silent and then suddenly two get up and get involved in a big argument. You could say that those two are at each other's throats. It's that go-to saying that describes a very, very distinct argument between two people. Now, the phrase dates back to literal combat, where attacking someone's throat was a direct and deadly move in close fighting. By the 16th century, it became a figurative way to describe personal conflict, especially arguments that felt somewhat aggressive or dangerous. In today's world, we'll use the term at each other's throats to describe two people who are obviously arguing, and rather fiercely at that. Number 9. Ever been in that tense situation and suddenly someone says something that makes the whole matter much, much worse? You could say that they are adding fuel to the fire. Now, the saying, not surprisingly, comes from the literal act of feeding a fire with more fuel to make it burn hotter and much more faster. Now, the metaphor appeared as early as the 1500s, describing how actions or words can intensify an already heated situation. In today's world, we'll use the term add fuel to the fire when we see someone making a situation worse, just like replying to a sarcastic comment with a much more sharper and hostile one. Number 8. Now, nothing says let's move on more like metaphorically hiding your weapons. You could associate this with burying the hatchet. It's that classic saying which effectively means making peace. Now, the phrase comes from Native American peace rituals, where tribes would literally bury weapons like hatchets to symbolize an end to the conflict. It became widely adopted in English during colonial times as a symbol of reconciliation. Now, the saying bury the hatchet has lasted the test of centuries and effectively means to let go of a long-running argument with a mate. Number 7. Now, sometimes tension just seems to hang around, and at times like this, we need to clear the air. That's right, we might use this term to have an honest conversation to fix a bit of tension that just keeps hanging around. Now, this phrase seems to come from the idea of removing smoke or fog to restore visibility, and by the 1700s it was used metaphorically to describe resolving a misunderstanding and to restore clarity in relationships. These days, we'll use the term to clear the air to have that honest and calm conversation to restore a bit of tension that might be in the air, just like addressing perhaps a bit of miscommunication before it spirals out of control. Number 6. Now, have you ever walked into a meeting or gathering knowing that it's going to be brutal? It may take courage, and we could be described as having to be on the war path. Now, this term dates back to Native American tribes who would prepare for battle, and the war path was the literal route that was taken during a military campaign. Now, over time, it became a metaphor for someone aggressively pursuing conflict or confrontation. Now, we've all come across these kind of people who tend to look for a fight, like that angry manager storming in after spotting a mistake. And we could describe that manager as being on the war path. Number 5. Now, it's this kind of situation where you have two stubborn people that meet, and the end result is nothing productive happens. We could describe such circumstances as locking horns. Now, not surprisingly, the phrase comes from animals that have horns, like rams or deer that clash horns during dominance battles. It entered figurative language in the 1800s to describe people engaging in direct but stubborn conflict. Today, we'll often use the term lock horns to describe a head-on disagreement, just like that boardroom debate, or like two departments that just refuse to budge on a budget decision. Number 4. It's that moment when someone says something and you instantly take it personally. It could be described as hitting a nerve. Now, this phrase is rooted in anatomy, where nerves are sensitive pathways in the body, so hitting one does cause a sharp pain. And by the 1800s, when knowledge of this became more common, the phrase was actually used metaphorically to describe triggering a strong emotional reaction. In today's world, we might use the term hit a nerve to describe someone as upsetting or provoking someone unintentionally, just like joking about something that's actually a bit of a sore spot. Number 3. Now, there's always that one person that just loves that bit of drama. That's right, in creating the drama, we could say that they are stirring the pot. Now, not surprisingly, this saying comes from cooking, where over the centuries, stirring a pot would be used to keep ingredients moving and prevent them from burning. Figuratively, it evolved to describe someone who deliberately keeps things active, especially conflict. In today's modern world, we'll use the term stir the pot to mean provoking drama, just like bringing up that rather controversial topic just to see everyone's reactions. Number 2, translation. I've been thinking about this and I'm still annoyed. In other words, we could say that we have a bone to pick. It's our go-to phrase to say that you have a particular issue or complaint to make. Now, the origin of this may come from dogs gnawing persistently on bones, indicating that they are holding onto something. By the 1500s, it was used to describe someone having a grievance that just needed to be addressed. In today's modern world, this saying, have a bone to pick, has survived the ages to indicate that you may have an issue or complaint to raise with someone. And finally, number 1. Because sometimes the best way to win is just to stop arguing in the first place. In other words, we could say that we are calling a truce. Now, a truce comes from Old French and English medieval warfare where opposing sides would agree temporarily to stop the fighting. And in these situations, it allowed negotiation, recovery, or simply a break from the conflict. In today's modern world, we'll use this term truce to mean to stop arguing or to something to move on after a heated debate. So, from literal battles to everyday banter, it turns out our arguments are packed with history that have crept into our day-to-day language. Which one was your favourite? Please comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the words that we use each and every day.